Hey, so this video is going to be a little bit different for this channel. Rather than being out in my yard working on some trucks or whatever, I wanted to use this one to talk specifically about something that I do, which I haven't really shown on the YouTube channel yet, and that's my practice as an artist. I have a background. If you follow this channel, you know I'm into cars and trucks. But my professional background is in the arts. I have degrees in art education and studio art, painting, drawing, that kind of thing, and I've been doing that for years. I do a lot of different types of art, painting, collage, drawing, sculpture, lots of different things, and I've been doing that for years. But one thing that I've really been getting into recently, and I've done a little bit over the years, but recently it's become a bigger part of my practice, is paintings of car wheels, like close-ups of different types of wheels based on photos that I usually take at car events, car shows, sometimes based on wheels that are on my own vehicles, but other times other ones that I just really enjoy the aesthetic properties of, and I find them to be a good challenge in terms of making paintings. So as an example, I do have a painting that I made, a fairly large painting that I made of a Krager SS wheel, which is of course a typical hot rod custom car culture wheel, very common. I have, I made a large scale, like 3 feet square painting of a Krager SS wheel. I ended up not selling, but trading the actual painting to a friend of mine who had done some work on a couple of vehicles for me. So that worked out great because I was able to trade art for labor on a car, which is ideal in my world. That would be the way to do all business. I make a painting, I trade it to you for something that I need. And once in a while, I'm lucky enough that happens. But anyway, that painting, I was also fortunate enough to have the city of DeKalb, Illinois, where I currently live, selected that painting to use as part of a public art project that they do. They reproduce artworks on utility boxes around town. So at the beginning of this video, you saw a short little clip of my painting of that Krager SS wheel on a City of DeKalb utility box. I just shot a short clip of that with some traffic going by in the background. And frankly, I think that's super exciting. I love having that type of work of mine out there so that more people can see it. If you make art, one of the things that you find, of course, is that unless you're really, really active about trying to make things that people want to see and tailor your work to, a particular audience or whatever, unless you do that, you really find that your audience gets limited quite a bit. If you're not in a really major gallery or published somewhere or something, very few people see your work. And of course, part of making art is wanting other people to see it. So I think it's really great that I was able to get that painting into this program. So now there are literally hundreds of people driving by that box that has my painting on it here in town every day, which is awesome. I love that. So anyway, that painting itself was one of the larger ones of these wheel paintings I've ever done. I also have a good example of one of those right here. I just want to show you a few others on this video. This is a fairly recent painting that I did. It's 24 by 36 inches. It's acrylic on canvas. And that's a painting of a custom, like a weld wheel, like you might see on a drag car. That, of course, like I said, is based on a photo that I shot at a car show. When I go to car events now, I'm always thinking about things that I could use for subject matter, among other things. And so I take a lot of photos of wheels. I really liked that weld wheel that I took a photo of. I believe that was at a World of Wheels show in Omaha a year or two ago. Anyway, so that's a larger one, but really a lot of the wheel paintings that I've been doing are smaller scale, and that's sort of how I got started doing this. It was more of an experiment. And so I started doing some that were more like this. This is just a little 8 by 10 wood panel that I did a close-up of another Krager SS wheel, like the large one I was talking about. Oftentimes they're cropped images like this, just trying to make the composition a little more interesting instead of the entire wheel. But sometimes I'll include the whole wheel. It just depends on what I'm feeling like doing. This is another example on a small panel. If you look at that closely, you can see there's a pretty high level of detail in this chrome reverse wheel. This is a very small piece. It's only 8 by 8 inches square. These little ones on the panel, by the way, are oil paint. They're oil on wood panel. And that's how I got started doing these wheels, was with oil, sort of as a technical experiment to see if I could get some of the visual properties I wanted to, and it seemed like a good subject to try. And then I just really liked how those were working out. So I've done some, the ones on canvas are acrylic, and I've done some of both. Let me just show you a couple others that I have, the small panels, the oil paintings. Here's one that I did of a hubcap on a Volkswagen. That was off of a Volkswagen truck that was at, again, I think that same World of Wheels show in Omaha. I like the reflections you can see in there. There's distorted reflections of the building that this truck was sitting in. I'm pretty proud of that one. I really like how that turned out. But again, it's a really small piece, oil on panel, 8 by 8 inches square. And then another one of my personal favorites is this one that I have right here, which is of a rusty old GMC truck wheel. This is based on a photo that I shot at a show in Madrid, Iowa a couple years ago. Came across this, I don't know, 67, 68 GMC truck that I really liked, and it was sort of original patina, had these old dented rusty wheel covers, and I just thought, I was fascinated by the visual quality of it. So I took a bunch of photos, ended up using one to make this painting from. Again, oil on panel. I really like how this one turned out. There's a funny story about this one too. A couple of years ago, or maybe a year or two ago, I don't know, had a car that I was trying to trade or sell or something. I had it advertised on Marketplace. And I was sort of, getting trade offers from people. And a guy contacted me and wanted to know if I wanted to trade him for this truck that he had. And we were talking back and forth. And eventually I realized the truck he wanted to trade me was literally the exact truck that this wheel photo was taken on in Madrid. And once I realized that, I told him that. I said, hey, this might seem really weird, but I'm an artist and I make these paintings of wheels based on photos that I shoot, and I'm pretty sure that I did a painting of the wheel on your truck that you were offering for trade. And I showed him the painting, and sure enough, that was it. So we got a laugh out of that, but it's a small world in the car community. And anyway, really like that one. So those are the ones that are on oil on panel. I've got a couple others. This is one I did that's a little bit larger. It's 11 by 14. This is actually based on one of the wheel covers that was on my first car, 68 Chevelle, that I had when I was in high school that my dad rebuilt. That's one of the earlier ones of these that I did, so that's probably going to stay with me. I have one other of these that I really like. That's an old Pontiac wheel off of a 50s era Pontiac. I liked the reflections that I got in that one as well. So I'm showing you these because I'm planning to make this sort of a more active part of my art practice. I really would like to maybe do more of these, and possibly for people. I've done a couple of these paintings for friends who have old cars they like, and they commissioned me to do a painting of the wheel on their car. In those situations, I went out and took photos of their actual car wheels, shot a whole bunch of photos, and then ended up finding one that I thought would work for a painting, cropped it, color corrected, all that stuff, made a painting out of it. And I loved that. That experience was fantastic for me, not just making that kind of connection with somebody that I know who's a friend who's into cars like I am, but also it just got me realizing that, again, I think there was a part of me as an artist that for years kind of thought, well, I should stay true to my vision and not worry about what other people want from me as an artist. I should just do what I want to do, not worry about whether it's marketable or I could sell it to anyone or anything like that. And the older I get and the more art I make, the more I realize there's nothing wrong with trying to make something that's going to have a broader audience, and that you could maybe put into more of a commercial kind of setting a little more easily, as long as it's something that I love doing, that I enjoy doing, and that I feel like is good for me as an artist, which I really feel like these are. I'm enjoying this a lot. So I'm hoping to do some more. I've been shooting more wheel photos as I go to car events. And if it's something you'd ever be interested in, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I'm really excited about the idea of doing a commission piece like this every now and then, either a smaller one or a larger one. There's a lot of variables that way. It could be on canvas, it could be on wood panels. But yeah, feel free to send me a message. I'll drop my contact info into the description on this video in case you don't already have it. I also have a website that's aarontinder.com that I've been using for my artwork for years. I'm in the process of revamping that right now. Right now it shows a lot of a broad range of my other artwork, like that piece behind me right there. But I think I'm going to sort of reconfigure that website so it more prominently features the wheel paintings and this kind of work too. And that way maybe people can reach out to me through that as well for that kind of thing. So anyway, I thought this video was appropriate for the channel because obviously it's car related. It's related to the stuff that I'm showing on here all the time. But I really thought it'd be a good way to get the word out a little bit more about that. So, and if you happen to be in DeKalb, Illinois, go up to the intersection of First and Hillcrest and check out the utility box that's sitting right there, and you will see my painting of a Krager SS wheel reproduced on there, which again, I think is pretty awesome. So anyway, would love to hear your thoughts or any suggestions you have on maybe things I could try with this type of artwork. Definitely planning to do a lot more of it. So thanks for watching this, even though it's a little bit unorthodox for this channel. I appreciate you taking the time to take a look at what I do that I haven't really shown on here before. So that's it for now. I'll see you with the next video, which will probably be back to some C10s.